Thank you for joining us for our first Tech Talk. Today we're going to have Adam and Kira covering some ways that they use Microsoft Teams in the classroom on a regular basis. And some of you may or may not know that Teams has various different functions, but they have some very unique ways we feel like of using it. So we thought they'd come on and share a little bit. You guys want to take it off from here?
Great, thank you. I'll start by, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, can you see all my teams?
Yes, we can.
Awesome, thanks. So I use Teams for a research course. Adam's teaching it this year, but it has been beneficial for especially courses that go over multiple semesters. So this course starts in the spring and then ends in the fall. And so instead of having one Moodle page for one course and another one for a different course, it is nice that we can keep it all in one area. Some of the things I really like about this is I can see how active individuals are. So if a team comes up and says, hey, so-and-so's not contributing as much, I can see evidence of who's worked on the last projects, how often individuals will work on different projects, and then it's a great way to keep all their information together. This group had a great organization. They had every individual's 12-step reports. They kept their articles very organized. So it's great for courses that do that. The other area, and this isn't really a course, but a way to keep things organized within our major, we have an exercise science student team where we encourage all of our exercise science students to join this team. We have QR codes on our office doors that if a student scans the QR code, it will bring them up to this team and they can add themselves. Because we're an application-based major, once individuals apply, if they haven't added them to the team, I can add them automatically. So we can add members to the whole team. I also have locked channels. So the class of 2023 are all the seniors right now. And so this will pop up on the seniors. You can manage that here. So you can see all the different guests and members, and I can change if I need to move them from the class of 23 to 24. It's very simple to do that, but this will only show up for the individuals on the list, whereas this is the juniors and then the sophomores. The ones that do not have the lock behind it, anybody who is part of this team is able to see the information here. The information technology videos has been helpful for our students. I have all of them from IT, and I placed them on here. At the beginning of the year, students have so many questions about how to access the printer or how to download anything through MS Office, and so I usually just guide them to these locations. We keep all of our internship information here. One aspect that I'm working with right now is how to e-sign. Once I pilot that, hopefully this winter, we can share some information about how to e-sign our paperwork. We keep all the files that individuals need for our internship in this area, and so it is a nice way to guide students there. You can, this is this little red arrow here, the document is considered checked out so that nobody can go on and edit the document. You can leave Word documents open where different individuals can go in and start typing on that document and editing it. But this is one document I don't want individuals to edit on Teams. And so I have it as a checked out version where they can download and then print, but they can't make adjustments on Teams itself. And then we do have some different areas here for students to find different information. If they are pre-physical therapy, they can add themselves to that channel. If they're pre-PA, and I can share information there. We used to send emails to students with highlights, and it became a little bit overwhelming to send them new jobs, new volunteer opportunities, CPR recertifications, lots of things. And I think our students are overwhelmed with the number of emails that they get. So now whenever we have an internship opportunity, if there is, like I try to highlight our 1 credit hour courses if they need another credit hour. So this is a great place for us to not overwhelm the students with information, but make sure that they are aware of all of the different opportunities that are available to them. I am planning on sending this today, so I've put, you know, I'm going to ask the students in each of these channels. I'm not going to send it to the whole class or the freshmen through seniors, because the freshmen, I don't want them thinking about internships yet or getting confused about immersive terms. So I'm only sending it to the sophomores, juniors, and seniors. So if I want to send this message and I want it in different channels, I can just click on the post on multiple channels. And I can type in my class of 2025, and then it will only go to those groups. The other area, or the other thing I like a lot about Teams, is the ability to do polls. So I might get an idea about how many individuals. So I'm going to ask how many people are coming to homecoming brunch. And it will send that poll out to the students. And I can get an idea about numbers or how many people might be coming. For our interns this year, I'll be sending updates. So with this, I can create an update. Let's say I want to do a project progress. And just pick this template. For this, if I want to see, let's say, which documents have they completed? And I can put all the different documents that I might be interested in. And then from here, after I finish this update, I can select what students I want to have received the update. So once I know what students are planning to do immersive term, I'll send them an update in about a month. And then it will ask them what they've completed or any other questions that I have. So hopefully that will be an easier way to make sure that I know where all the students are, what documents, and I'm not having to email individuals individually or email individuals and then try to track down some of that information. So for me, that is helpful. And I'll let Adam talk a little bit more about how he uses it in his classes.
Yeah, thanks, Kira. I use a lot of the same functions that Kira just highlighted, but I'll take you. I'll share my screen. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
So we'll go ahead and start off with project setup. So in a lot of my classes, these are the ones that I have here. I do like that in this setup here, I can hide like old teams or things that I'm not using or things I want to save as a template. And I did a full-on summer class exclusively on Teams. I'd say maybe about 95% on Teams and 5% on Moodle. I do really like the general section here, mainly because it is sort of a post reply like students would see on social media. So they tend to be a little bit more engaged in a setup like this. So at the beginning of the summer, I had students post YouTube. They had to learn how to make a YouTube video and then come in here and post about, how things are going in the first couple weeks of class. And then this is where I would post just general course updates during the summer class. I think the nice thing is when a student puts when student will put something in the post section, if it is a file, it should, yeah, it'll actually just flop everything over into saved files, which, so if they post like a Word document, or I put a Word document or a PowerPoint, it will integrate it directly into a saved files, which syncs with OneDrive, which is really nice. That way you can, if you do just are kind of posting things, it'll actually accumulate in your files section and save things for later. Let's see. One thing that I do want to show you, I have my little sticky note here that I'm looking at for my notes. Not a digital resource, a manual one. One thing that I really do like that helps me quite a bit from a standpoint of managing information. This is my current exercise physiology class. We have quite a bit of groups for group projects. We will add names to this later. They're just now getting assigned to their groups. But I will flip over to my Finder here, and I'll show you a little example. Since Teams is basically integrated with SharePoint and OneDrive, I can link my Teams, that I'm on a Mac right now, but I can link it directly to the SharePoint, which syncs with my desktop on a Mac. So I'll take this, these are basically 2 copies of my syllabus, and hopefully this works in front of everyone. I'm going to just copy this folder. I'm going to come over to, we'll just do 9 a.m. group 1, which you can see is also on Teams as well. And so we'll put that there. And you can see the little sync wheel is going. The nice thing for me is I don't always have to just open Teams and flops and like just put stuff right on Teams or upload it to Teams, even though you can drag and drop pretty easily. But I can manage it directly from my desktop, and it syncs directly there. That was 9 a.m. group 1. Fingers crossed. If I go over to the files section, there, it showed up. So the way I do that is I will have just a folder set up. Since I teach this class every single year, I just have a folder set up that this goes in every single group's channel every single semester, and I just drag it over and it just appears, which is really nice for project documents or things like that that I'm going to use every single semester. And if a student tells me, oh, well, we don't have that, or ours, I need some, like, I can just drag it right in there and it'll show up instantaneously. Another feature that I really like, we'll just stay in this class, is that I'm getting more used to over the summer. And now with this class and another class, I'm piloting online assignments. Since I've been here, I've been doing hard manual assignments with paper and pen, which has its own merits. But one thing that I usually get feedback from students on is speed. Of course, they want feedback as quickly as possible, and I want to be able to deliver that. So the assignments, I think, the assignment setup is really nice for this. So I'm just going to go into homework 4, which nobody has been graded on yet. And I asked my supplemental instructor to turn in sample homework. He's not 9 hours late, but it will tell me that, which is really nice. And if I click on an assignment, he took this class last year, so he's my supplemental instructor right now. I like the view history. You can look, and I can see when I assigned it. I can see when they looked at it. So if a student, is like, oh, I'm having trouble in the homework, I was like, well, it doesn't look like you've even looked at it yet. So that might be your first step. When it's due, when they turned it in. And then I'll go back to that setup. This setup is just so nice. Since I require them to use Microsoft Word, I can, if there's something in here where I want to give Aaron some feedback, I can highlight it, and I can use the comments off to the side, like this is great, or need more on this. And then that'll show up, and I just go through every assignment and do this, and it's just, I think it's just as good as paper. I think actually there's a lot more functionality here where I can really dive a little deeper on some of the feedback. And they don't have to worry about reading my handwriting, which I joke, but I mean, I've been using a computer for so long now that rarely am I doing a lot of handwriting at once. So my handwriting is not the best. One feature I also like in the assignments is I have the option to return for revision, which I did do in my summer class. It depends on the rules in my syllabus, but I like this feature where I can return it for revision, and then they can redo their assignment or get more points that way, and that will show up for them in their student view, which is really nice. So I do see that there's a chat up here. I don't know if that's okay, that looks like, yep, that's been solved. So good. All right. Last thing I want to talk about real quick is the way I use this for student communication. So I'm actually going to stop my screen share for a second because we won't need it. I strongly request, and in some classes require, that students put Teams on their phone, which it's free, obviously. I do like that it's two-factor authenticated. So when students will communicate with me through their phones in Microsoft Teams, I know that it's secure. And they do too. I think that's important for some students. So the Microsoft Teams chat feature is pretty powerful, and I've been leveraging this quite a bit. If I'm right now, well, I had office hours for an hour, and I do about 4 office hours on campus, and then I have just a couple days during the week where I say, I mean, I'm on Teams all day. Really, I've started telling my classes that, if I'm out of town or, I can't answer during the weekend, I won't. But when it's during the semester, I've told all my students, if you send me a Teams chat on like Saturday and I can answer, I'm going to answer you. If I can't, then I won't. But it's been great. I've helped students with their homework on a Saturday when it's due on a Sunday, or students will just shoot me chats throughout the week. And the chat is so functional. There is, I guess I can, well, the features are a little bit different on the phone, but I'm gonna show you real quick with Aaron. So I can type him a message, and I will also share my screen again real quick, and I'll show you who is I talking to. Blake. Nope, that's there he is. This is Saturday, and so one of the features I really like is I don't even have to type. There he is. He says I'm there. He said Blake was asking me questions, and I can record my voice instead of typing things back. So I was walking on Saturday, and I didn't really want to type a whole lot of things, so I can just.
Blake, sorry if you can hear some music in the background. We're watching the Colts game.
So I was watching the Colts game, but I was able to just, he was shooting me stuff, and his assignment was due later on Sunday, and I just sent him, and that was so much easier than sitting down at a computer or typing, and it was fast, and it got him the information that he wanted. And so I'm going to use my phone for this next part, and let's see, I'm gonna get with Aaron. So on the chat feature in the upper hand corner, I can just do a video call right with Aaron. So if I'm talking with him and he's not understanding something, I can just click. There's a phone call feature, and there he is. Hey, Aaron. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Say hi to everybody, Aaron. Okay, that's really all I needed for you for. Are you having a good day?
Having a great day. You?
Me too. All right. Thank you for helping.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Bye. Of course, that was a video call, but he didn't put himself on video because students don't like that. But I can do a straight up phone call, just audio, or I can do a video call. And last weekend I had a couple students asking me questions, and they went into then there was like 5 or 6 of them that I just got on a video chat with on a Saturday afternoon. And it was great. It worked out really well. I was actually in Brown County State Park, and I had plenty of service, and so I think students are really, really liking it, and I am too, because I always have that underlying feeling if I leave or I'm not there and they're trying to get a hold of me, that now I can be available to them within reason, obviously. So those are the really big ways I'm using Microsoft Teams. There are so many other apps and integrations. And Kira, what is the one that you and Lauren have used where you do little video snippets? I think for assignments. I forget what the name of it is. It was Lauren used it last year. Well, I should say there's just so many different apps and integrations and things that you can use, like the polling and things like that are really nice. And that's all I got.
Perfect. Thank you for those explanations of how you're using it. It always amazes me how people are able to use one item in so many different ways. So we have about 8 minutes or so that we thought it would be nice to open it up to where if anybody that's on currently with us has any questions, comments, if you'd like to, share your screen or show your face or just voice out your question, we'll see if we can address those.
I have a question for you guys. I think, Kira, I think you mentioned that Adam uses this for his research class. So my question to both of you, since you both use this and have experience with it, is, Adam, you mentioned you use Teams for about 95% of one of your classes. So how Jeremy kind of alluded to this in the chat box. How do the students, how do they get used to using certain platforms for certain things? I just can see that be something my students are going to be like, well, I don't know what to go to for what.
Yeah, that's a great question. The 95% was for and Jeremy, what you guys hear is Jeremy trying to get me off my game, because we're presenting on ADHD in a couple weeks, and he's trying to get me laughing. The 95% was for my summer course. I still leverage Moodle quite a bit. And what I do, Tiffany, is on the front end is I do build some like how-to videos with Microsoft Teams that I make sure that they have at the beginning. So like, here's how you do this. But since it mimics, like you can do so many things, but it does mimic social media platforms quite a bit. So really I haven't had a student like come to me and be like, oh, this, like, I just don't know how to do. Once they get it, especially on their phone, they tend to, I don't know, maybe Kira can talk about that a little bit more too. That seems to be my experience.
Yes, there's a search function and at the top, and you can search everything, every single team, or you can say, I just want to search files, or I just want to search this team. And I think when they realize I don't have to like go all over Moodle to try to find what I'm looking for, or I don't need to dig in through all these files, it's really helpful. I think once they start realizing how easy it is, they sort of gravitate towards it. Getting in contact with us is easy. With the Zoom call, not Zoom calls, the calls, video calls, they can give me access to their computer. Last year, we had students working on a research project, and I happened to be on my computer at night, and somebody called me, and I said, okay, I'll take it. They were sitting in the library and stuck on an Excel document before they could run statistics, and they gave me access to their computer, and I made 2 little changes, and they had been working on it for hours. I'm like, well, you should have just emailed me hours ago. But so I think how quickly we're able to make some, communicate or help them, once they realize that, it's been easier to get them to jump on board, and I'm not having to send, they're not getting a dozen emails from me every week. I like how they can customize the notifications. If they want to get notifications from me or from everything, everybody, has a different level of how often they want to hear their phone, ding. So I really like that aspect on how well students can customize for themselves.
And even for us too, like you can customize, like I can put it in the notifications, like I only want to get notifications from Teams like Monday through such, and at like 7 p.m. they go silent. And I will say, Tiffany, from a research standpoint, like Kira showed earlier in my research class, I have private, like locked groups. And then when they start collecting data, which, IRB has to be all secured, since it's two-factor authenticated and through OneDrive, you can use Microsoft Teams to store your data. And I got all my IRBs approved last year, specifically saying that folks were going to use Teams syncing with OneDrive. They have to sign in with their Franklin College email, and it has to be two-factor authenticated through Okta to be able to even access it. So it's so much more secure in my mind than paper having things.
So in regards to the research part, I use a lot of track changes. And so our research curriculum does span over multiple semesters. So I do feel like this could potentially be helpful, but the track changes feature, is that something that is still accessible as opposed to just highlighting and making a comment off to the side like what you did?
Yes, track changes, they can do that, and they can all work on the same document at the same time. So it's sort of like Google Docs a little bit, and you can see, I love that I could see who was making changes. Every group, there's usually somebody who, or you might have a student say, so-and-so hasn't done anything, and I could see the evidence of who was doing work and who wasn't, whereas before you can't really tell some of those things. So that was helpful. And then I think Kathy asked how long it took to learn some of the features. The basic features, as far as using, like the chat function, they act like most social media platforms, so it doesn't take very long. Some of the other features, like I have a few new apps downloaded. Like the polling feature is very, very easy to use. There's a couple of them that if you want to add in different apps, you can, and they have like a learn more button that will take you to a website where you can, the more complicated or complex apps usually have some learning management with it.
Great, thank you. Well, I think I was viewing through the chat, and I think we got most of the questions there. If you have any other questions about this, feel free to email me, or I'm sure Adam and Kira would be open to some emails as well. And again, we'll put this video on the Learning Portal, and we'll send a link out for that so you can view it again later. But feel free to reach out, ask questions, and just take time to explore if this is something you would like to utilize. I want to thank Adam and Kira again for hosting somewhat today and speaking on this topic, because it was very interesting to learn a new way to use Teams. So thank you very much, and thank you for everyone for joining.